All right, just getting set back up here, Raider Nation. Give me just a minute. Please. All right, those of you that are in the chat already, appreciate you. Is it looking better? We flowing better now? Okay, good deal. I think we're good now. All right, how about that? We good to go now? Everybody can see me okay? We're moving okay? No buffering going on? I hope it's better there. I restarted everything in the whole fan cave. I'll save you the boring details of everything, but hopefully we're good. Todd Clement says you kick everyone off the Wi-Fi. No, I'm by myself. There's no one else in the whole friggin' house. It's just me. So yeah, I hope it's together, Coach Davis. Hope we got it all figured out. So anyways, where was I at? I think we were talking about respect. Okay. So, is where we were. And so let's see, let me get my bearing set here. Okay. Last big part of respect I'd like to give to is the folks over at ESPN. I want to give respect to the folks that did the Al Davis versus the NFL, the 30 for 30. One of the main reasons too I wanted to get back on the air tonight. We'd originally thought about taking tonight off, which we're going to take off next week instead. But I want to get back on because this was such a big deal in Raider Nation that we had this chance to engage in this special, and really it was a love letter for the Raiders, I felt. I'm curious to what the chat room thinks. Chat room, shout it out. Tell me what you think. Flash is in there. Aaron the Q-Dog Raider Critique, DT the Sun. I always say DT the Sun. It's D the Sun. Lorenzo is in there. Raider Flash. Yo-Yo is in there. Coach Davis. What's up, Coach Davis? Let's see. Todd Clements is in there. Chaos Raider is in there. Rodamator Raider holding it down. Lee B, of course. Storm is in there. Raider Rue is in there. Yeah, so like I'm not a huge fan of ESPN. Like I just don't really watch it a lot lately, and especially since Woodson left. Or unless it's a live sporting event, I typically don't watch ESPN. But I thought they did a very good job on this, and I thought that they did a good job of not vilifying either Al or Pete, which is surprising to me because so many times, Al is vilified, and especially when you're talking about something like suing the league, right? So it was, and I think that the reason it wasn't was that clearly they had access to Allegiant Stadium for the special. And if you want to get access to Allegiant Stadium, you got to get approval from Mark Davis. And Mark Davis is very protective of his father's legacy and the image of his father. And so I don't think you get away with a hit piece on Al Davis while Mark is running the team. And so I thought it was very well put together. I thought it was very well structured. And again, I thought it did a great job of detailing why we're the badasses and the villains of the NFL. Like it did a great job of detailing where we got to. And it was for I think younger fans and for us older fans alike, it was a reminder that we run the show. Like the Raiders, dictated, like Al Davis says in that special and so famously at other points of his life. It wasn't about what the defense was going to give us. We're going to take what we want. And the Raiders used to take what they wanted out of the league. And that was what it was all about. That's what the Raider mentality is all about. Now, that may not be a great mentality to go about your day-to-day life. But when you're talking about a competitive sport, I'm like, yeah, like it's just win, baby. It doesn't matter. Like the sign used to hang up in the LA Coliseum. Cheating is encouraged. Rule number 1. Rule number 2, see rule number 1. Like, just freaking win. Like, that's all that freaking matters. And I thought this special did a very reverent exploration through that thought that it didn't make Al a bad guy. It showed him that he was the maverick. It showed him that he was determined. It showed him that he had a work ethic that was unmatched, a level of dedication that was unmatched. And frankly, that's why Pete Rozelle was so stressed out all the time, because he couldn't match Al Davis. He couldn't beat Al. The only person that ever beat Al was Al. And, so I thought it was very impressive. So I want to give respect to ESPN for doing that. And that's my opinion about it. Again, I'd love to get caught up and read what the chat room thinks about it. What you think, Raider Nation. Call us next for the next show. Won't be next week, again, week after. But I want to hear your thoughts about it, man. Tell me what you thought. What were your big takeaways, from it? Was the deep fake thing, did it weird you out? Did you think it looked funky? I thought it was kind of neat. I mean, they don't have the budget of a freaking, Marvel movie, so it's not going to look that great. But I thought conceptually it was really cool. Like Al and Pete walking around Allegiant Stadium, like, that was pretty neat, man. So, but anyways, enough of my opinion about it. Let's jump in and listen to what the Raiders think about it. So I'm going to play you this video, or the audio of this anyways. First, we're going to hear from Ken Rogers, who is the filmmaker. Then we're going to hear Musburger, Flores, Art Shell, Raymond Chester, Rod Martin. You're going to hear the greats reacting to the Raiders' Al Davis 30 for 30.
The moment that I knew this film had something different, especially for non-Raiders personnel, was when I saw the footage of Al's interview describing the moment that Pete Rozelle retired.
Must have brought back so many memories. What was it like for you living through this era with Coach Davis?
There was so much that went on. I was there through all the most of the ups and downs. I was there from day one before Al came to town.
Watching that film, I got chills, running through my body.
You hear the slogan nowadays: "Once a Raider, always a Raider." That's not something they just coined, in recent years. That's something that developed over the whole history of the Raiders.
What I remember about him a lot is that he was a real man.
I love it, man. Love it. There's Rod Martin, man. Three interceptions in the Super Bowl. Just really cool to hear from those guys, and really cool to hear them, celebrate the Raiders. Also, of course, we got to hear from some of the modern day Raiders, and who better than John Gruden, than head coach John Gruden, who of course was hired originally by the great one, by Al Davis. And John made some really fun comments. John is never there's never a shortage of good John Gruden sound bites, right? And so let's check in with Coach Gruden reacting and talking about Al Davis interviewing him.
You know what? I'm the most interviewed candidate in Al Davis's history. Let me say that. I interviewed with him after my first year in Philadelphia. You talk about a thorough interview. He would ask you about personnel. He wanted to know, hey, JT, who's the third corner for the Chargers? And if you didn't know Terrence Shaw, you were out of that interview. He asked you specific questions about drills. How are you going to get somebody better? Situations. What's your favorite play on 3rd and 9 from the 9? Teach it to me. It was a grind, and it was probably the most fascinating time of my life, having a chance to not only be the coach of the Raiders as a young man, but to be judged by the great one himself. And I could still smell his cologne. I could still feel his presence right there. I learned a great deal from him, and I know the world still misses him, and there'll never be another one like him.
You're listening to Raiders Fan Radio with the real star of the show, Little Murf, and my sidekick, Uncle Mosh. There used to be a third guy too, but I kick him out.
Hey Raider Nation, this is Max Crosby from the Oakland Raiders.
And goes down, and Max Crosby, who forced a fumble last week.
You're listening to Murf, Mosh, and Swag Jeff on Raiders Fan Radio. Thank you so much. Just win, baby.
All right, appreciate you joining us here in the Fan Cave for episode number 19. Sorry, I'm trying to do 800 things at once here. That's the downside of a podcast selfie. Appreciate you joining us for episode number 196. Appreciate everybody in the chat room. Daniel Mangus, Raider Rue, Lee B, Raider Flash, Aaron the Q-Dog Raider, Raider Critique Storm is in there, Rob Raider is in there, Coach Davis is in there. Appreciate all of you each and every week for supporting us and having the best chat room in all of Raider Nation. All right, next up, and this really could kind of continued being one big, long respect segment. But, you know, we got a little bit of redemption this week. We got a little bit of Raider love this week in many, many ways. Of course, on the heels of this Al Davis special comes then the NFL Honors special, which reveals the Hall of Fame inductees coming up in 2021. And don't you know, the Raiders got 3 inductees. And yes, I mean 3 inductees, because not only did we get, of course, obviously first ballot Hall of Famer Charles Woodson, who we're going to talk about in a minute, but someone that's been long overdue, and that is Coach Flores. But also we got this guy. Congratulations to Wayne Mabry. You know him as the Violator. I'm trying to get that card. There we go. There you can see him. There's the Violator. Wayne Mabry. Congratulations to him. A long time representative of Raider Nation. As I always say, and will say to forever, it's 1 and 1A or 1A and 1A or 1 and 1 in terms of Raiders super fans. And that is Violator and it's Gorilla Rilla. And that's it. And so the idea that he got into the Hall of Fame is fantastic. And I think is an incredible honor for him. And, so congratulations to him, much respect for him and his dedication to the Raiders over the years. And I thought this might be kind of fun. We interviewed Wayne way back when. So this is episode number 196 of Raiders Fan Radio. Episode number 29, we interviewed Wayne. And so let's check in with him. I'm going to play a little bit of this for you. You don't even hear me in any of this. It's mostly just all my cousin Sonny, who I started the podcast with. But Sonny asks him about his origin story. So let's check in and hear the origin story of the Violator.
All right, Raider Nation. We are truly honored with our next guest. He is not just a fan. He is not just a super fan, but he is one of the Raiders super fans. We're talking about Wayne Mabry, a.k.a. the Violator. He's a former bodybuilder. He's the owner of ModoSports.com. He's been repping the Raiders since 1991, making the drive every week from L.A. to Oakland since 95. Please welcome to the show, Wayne Mabry. Wayne, how you doing?
Doing fantastic, man. Another blessed day above ground.
Amen.
Wayne, every time we have a guest on the show, we start out with the same question. How did you become a Raiders fan? What's the origins of your Raiders fandom?
Watching the Raiders play the Chiefs, I think it was back in 1970. Didn't really know about them. I knew about the Chiefs, and always been into knights and armor and all that good stuff, swords. So when I saw this silver and black team with this pirate on their helmet, I'm like, these guys look like knights. So I started watching them then, and they got into a big brawl, and I just thought that was fantastic, man. The whole team coming out there just jumping in. So I was hooked from right then, man. 47 years later, here I am.
So Wayne becomes a fan 47 years ago. What's the origins of the Violator?
Well, that guy, you know, he's been in therapy for years, and I used to sit on the 50-yard line in the LA days, and you know, there was some, what do you call them, celebrities there who weren't really into being loud and standing up, raising hell. Well, to me, that's what football was about. So after a couple of years of that, I decided to just unleash this beast, and that was the beginning of him. So I would give him 48 hours to do his thing, and then we'd reel him back in on Monday morning.
Has he always been called the Violator? How did that name come about?
That's day one, man, killing quarterback.
Oh, I love it, man. It's day one killing quarterback. So there's a nice little clip from Wayne. Another thing, you know, that I learned a lot from Wayne in our interview, and, you know, I've said for a while now that, you know, the Raiders being the villains of the NFL, and when you look at a guy like Wayne, he's this big, tough, gnarly guy. He's loud. He's aggressive. You see him in his Violator outfit. Like, he's an intimidating looking guy, but he's the nicest, kindest man. And I think that it's important for us as Raider Nation to really always continue to lean into that idea that you can be big and tough and a badass, and you can be kind and nice at the same time. And I want to play one other little clip from the interview before we move on to Tom Flores. And this is this big, look, this big, intense individual. And all he's doing is talking about just love on people.
Love on somebody, brother. Yes. Putting that seed in their ear.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, right?
It's good stuff, man. Ain't nothing more rewarding than that. Now, if that takes a notch out of my macho card right there, just stating that.
No way.
You know, a real man knows to give God the glory. With all this stuff that we're enjoying, we didn't do this. You're listening to The Violator, and I'm live on Raiders Fan Radio. Where you at, baby?
All right, there he is, Wayne Mabry, The Violator. Congratulations on your Hall of Fame induction. All right, so upcoming, not only Wayne, of course, but we're talking about Tom Flores. We're talking about former coach of the Oakland and Los Angeles Raiders, not to mention player, assistant coach, all the amazing things that Coach Flores did in his tenure with the with the Raiders, and it's finally been celebrated. And you know, if you've listened to this show before, you're not a stranger to the idea that I've often explored the idea of why. And I think that it came down to, Coach's record when he was not a Raider. When you look at his Seattle Seahawks tenure and really even the last 2 years of his Raider career, I think he would tell you that there were some challenges in there and some results that he would rather not be. But that said, that doesn't detract from the idea that when you look at his Raiders coaching career as a whole, it's an absolute slam dunk Hall of Fame career. So just to give you like a rough idea, when we look at his first seasons with the Raiders, so to go from 1979, which was his first year coaching the team, all right, to 1985, he had 9 wins, 11 wins, 7 wins in 81, but then bounced back and they went 8-1, which was a strike season. So they only lost 1 game out of 9 in 82, then 12, then 11, then 12. And in that time, he won 2 Super Bowls. And so when you look at that coaching record and you look at his Raiders coaching record, he had a 610 winning percentage. So you're talking about in 136 games with the Raiders, he won 83 of them. Like and then you add 2 Super Bowl wins in with it. It's a slam dunk that Tom Flores finally makes the Hall of Fame, because again, it doesn't, to me as a Raider fan, it didn't matter what he did when he became a Seahawk. Like he was whatever. I don't care about the Seahawks. I'm not a Seahawks fan. Like neither are you. So all I care about is his Raider career. And when you look at his Raider career and you look at the success and the bona fides that he has in his wins, but then you look at, again, the barriers that he broke, first Latino head coach, like all the as a quarterback winning. I mean, I forget how many rings in total he has. I believe it's 4 though. I believe he's got 1 as a player, which was with the Chiefs when he was a quarterback for the Chiefs. He's got 1 with the Chiefs. He's got 1 as an assistant coach, and then he's got 2 as a head coach. So like the guy's like, I mean, you can't get more qualified than Tom Flores. So much respect to the Hall of Fame for finally putting him in. Now let's get to Cliff Branch. I'll save my rant on Cliffy for a minute at least. But let's continue to celebrate the idea that Coach Flores is going in, and let's go to Hall of Famer Howie Long, who did the announcement for Coach Flores. Let's check in with Howie.
He's one of professional football's great trailblazers, the first Latino to start a quarterback, and the first head coach of color to win a Super Bowl. He has 4 rings to his name and is one of only 2 people in the history of the game to win 1 as a player, an assistant coach, and head coach. I think I speak for all of Raider Nation when I say Canton is lucky to have him. Welcome to the Hall of Fame, my coach, Tom Flores.
Coach, I got something to say to you on behalf of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and I want to welcome you to Canton, Ohio. We are going to guard your legacy forever.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I'm usually at a loss for words, but I've been in pro football over 60 years. It's just an honor to be in that room, knowing that you're going to be there forever.
All right, there we go. So that's it. That was when they delivered him the message, and now let's celebrate Coach Flores a little bit.
It's great that Tom got in because it's time. It's time. Tom Flores belongs in the Hall of Fame.
This will be a wonderful culmination for him. He has devoted a lot of his life to football, and each player has a special place in his heart.
I tell him that I think he's a Hall of Famer to me, not only as a coach, but as a person.
I will be in Canton in August when he gets inducted into the Hall of Fame. It's been too long coming. He's a great football man, and I love the guy.
He's done it all, and he's been extremely successful on every level, so he definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
Just be proud that we've made it. And I emphasize we've made it. Raider Nation and the Raider family, I'm proud to be your representative.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That gives me dang chills. We're proud to have you, Coach. And this last week was an incredibly Raiders-centric week with all the things that went on. Not only with the things that was going on with the Hall of Fame and the Al Davis special, but like on Super Bowl Sunday. If you guys missed it, it's on our YouTube channel. We did it live on Twitch, and then I uploaded the video afterwards. But we ran through the Raiders' 3 Super Bowls, and so much of Coach Flores is in there. And unfortunately, he never got the credit. I think this is my opinion. I don't know. I don't think he ever got the credit that he truly deserved for being a coach until now. And that's because we all revel in Al Davis. We all talk about the genius of Al Davis and the maverick of Al Davis and all the things, Al. But Al had 2 Hall of Fame coaches. Al had John Madden and Al had, Tom Flores. And, they weren't yes men. Coach Flores had a little bit different of a disposition than somebody like Madden. He certainly wasn't animated. There's a reason that his nickname is the Iceman. It's because he's freaking chill. And you just listen to him. Now, the guy's in the Hall of Fame, and he's like, thank you. Appreciate you, and it's us, Raider Nation. It's all of us together. Dude is really mellow. That's just his dynamic. But don't you think, though, that that worked? We know it worked because it produces 2 championships, but there's something to be said for that. There's something to be said for that dynamic that Al was this bombastic, huge personality in the middle of suing the league. And he had this stoic, chilled out head coach that took care of business while Al was doing Al things. So I think Tom Flores obviously should be celebrated, but I think also should be celebrated for that too. Let's really lean into the idea that, it's hard to be a head coach of the Oakland Raiders or Los Angeles Raiders when Al Davis is at the helm. That ain't an easy job. And so the idea that he was as productive as he was under that regime, I think is an incredible testament to his character and his leadership ability, and is just an amazing story. So happy for Coach Flores. So thankful we got a chance to meet him last year at the Bolitnikoff Foundation dinner. Just what an incredible honor. I put up pictures of us from the pictures that we took with him earlier on our socials this week. I don't think he knew I was there when we took the picture, because I'm leaning up to him get the picture. And I'm all smiling and stuff. And but the one of him and Uncle Mosh is fantastic. They're shaking hands and both looking, right down the barrel of the camera, big smiles, and an amazing picture. And I'll show that tonight on the show. Let me go ahead and hit a break, and we got one more to get to, because we got to talk about Charles Woodson. In fact, let me find the Woodson ID here. Oh man, I don't have it. Dang it. All right. Anyways, let's go ahead and take a quick break, and then we'll get to Charles Woodson.
Hey, this is Pete Koch, former Los Angeles Raider. Yeah, back in the old days, baby. And you're listening to Murf and Uncle Mosh, who happens to have the same hair as me. Check it out, Raiders Fan Radio.
All right, here we go. I'm going to show the picture here. I hope you can see it okay. There's the one of let me see if we get it to focus. Come on, focus, camera. Ah, dang it. You can't see. There it goes. There's Uncle Mosh and the great Tom Flores right there. Such a cool, man, event, and such a great time being able to get a chance to meet Coach. And, man, I tell you, Coach was a chick magnet, man. There was a lot of ladies standing around Coach hoping to get a picture. So anyways, congratulations to him. And so let's talk about the great Charles Woodson. Let's talk about 24. Man, we knew this was a slam dunk. I mean, you don't get more Hall of Fame-y than Charles Woodson in the entirety of his career. And so I don't think this surprised anybody that he got in. But wow, what an amazing opportunity we're going to have in August when we all get a chance to go to Canton. I hope if you can go. And we're going to get a chance to see Tom Flores and Charles Woodson inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. We're all crashing to your house, Ron. No pressure. But anyways, assuming, we're in hopefully a lesser of a COVID world, if not a non-COVID world by then, by the time we get to August. But yeah, man, it's going to be absolutely incredible. And so let's check in with the announcement with Charles Woodson. This is cool. He kind of got ambushed. There was already a camera crew there because they were doing a documentary. And then here they came. Here comes the Hall of Fame committee come rolling in there and surprise Charles. And this is what it sounded like. And the emotion in Charles, again, you don't get that from Flores because he's just he's so chill. But Charles, man, you hear him towards the end here, he actually starts to break down a little bit. And it's just a really touching clip here.
Championship game.
A lot of great memories. Just winning the game. And
How you doing, Charles? Sorry to interrupt your interview, but I was trying to knock on the front door and nobody was answering. Because we're here to deliver some great news.
Doing an interview.
I know.
And this what y'all, okay. So now I'm starting to think y'all was in on it.
Charles, it's my pleasure to welcome you to Canton. Congratulations.
We in the hall, man. We in the hall, man. I just unbelievable.
Oh my gosh. That's another one, man. It gives me chills, man. Charles Woodson is just such an amazing ambassador to Raider Nation. I mean, clearly, and we're going to get to his numbers here. Heck, we'll just do it right now. Let's talk about some of these accomplishments. All right. So when we talk about his play on the field, 11 years with the Raiders, 7 with Green Bay. In 11 years with the Raiders, he played in 154 games. He started in all but 3 of them. He had 27 receptions, and 2 of them went for touchdowns. When you look at his tackles, he had 753 tackles. I mean, and 600 of those, 613 of those were solo tackles. An absolutely incredible, like that right there alone could qualify him for a Hall of Fame career. But oh yeah, by the way, he spent 7 years in Green Bay where he played in 100 games. And this is if anything is bittersweet about this, if any of this as a Raider fan dings me up a little bit, Charles was brilliant when he was with the Packers. He was great when he was with us. He was brilliant when he was with the Packers. Started all 100 games that he was in. He had 38 interceptions. So I just told you he had 27 in 150 with the Raiders. He had 38 picks in 100 games with the Packers. He scored 2 touchdowns with the Raiders. He scored 9 with the Packers. And so an absolutely, productive career. That's where he got his Super Bowl. That's where he got his Defensive Player of the Year award. Just dominant cornerback. Now, here's one thing, though, that is interesting and that really lends to the Hall of Fame player that Charles Woodson is. When I just told you that big number on tackles. So with the Raiders, he had 753 career tackles. He had 467 with the Packers. So when you look at his tackles, the guy had 750 tackles as a Raider and only 467 as a Packer. What does that tell you? It tells you that the front 7 for the Raiders may not have been getting it done as well as the Packers were. And Charles was coming up and making a lot of plays. And I thought about that, and then I looked at it, and sure enough, When you look at his 2014 season, so Charles came back to us in 13 and played 13, 14, 15. When you look at his 14 season, the Raiders were not great in 2014, if you remember. He had 113 tackles, the most tackles of the entirety of his career by a long shot. Like, he didn't break 76 tackles at any other point in his career, and he had 113 with the Raiders in one season in 2014. Dude was all over the place. Do you remember this? You remember how he used to fly around when they moved him to safety? Of course, they moved him to safety in Green Bay, but then he played all 3 seasons with the Raiders at safety. But he had 113 combined tackles and then 83 solo tackles. 4 of those were tackles for loss. And then, of course, he had the touchdown back in 2013, which, thank goodness, I got a chance to witness, man. Sonny and my buddy Harley and I were there. We met Willie Brown that night and freaking watched Charles Woodson score a touchdown against the Chargers. But, man, what an incredible cap on his career. And so anyways, enough of me celebrating Charles Woodson. Let's check in with the rest of the Raiders in the NFL, and let's hear from them as they celebrate Charles Woodson's career as a Raider.
With the 4th pick in the draft, the Oakland Raiders have selected defensive back Charles Woodson.
Game time, baby. This is how the West was won. I ain't choose football. Football chose me. It's gonna be rainy. It's gonna be wet. That's what we do. You as kids, you played in the rain and the mud.
I'm never satisfied with what I did yesterday. You know, it's all about today and tomorrow.
These young Thundercats out here want to know what it takes to be great. How you play this long. You know what I tell them? Work hard. Make plays. Work hard. Make plays. Work hard. Make plays. All right, Raider Nation, man, we about to go out into this smoke, man, at the Coliseum for the last time. Though this is my last game in the Coliseum, just know that I'll never leave you. Go Raiders.
Man, that fires me up. In fact, you know what? I didn't plan on playing this, but I'm going to go ahead and play this. Although this is his last game, I'll never leave you. I'm going to play you the whole thing. Here's Charles Woodson's final speech, his speech at the final home game for the Raiders in the Oakland Coliseum.
It's on. Raiders fans, can y'all hear me? Hey, just one time, I need it. Raiders. 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 Hey, listen. Listen, man, it's been a joy for me to come back and play here for a second time around. You guys welcome me back with open arms, as if I never left. I just want you to know how much that means to me, means to my family, my 2 boys. Man, it's been great. Though this is my last game in the Coliseum, just know that I'll never leave you. Go Raiders.
Patrick Claybon with NFL Network here. Hey folks, I know 3 things you might like. Do you like football? Do you like the Las Vegas Raiders? Do you like listening to things? I'll add a 4th. Do you like swag? Well, here we got Swag Jeff, Murf, Uncle Mosh. This is Raiders Fan Radio.
I appreciate you, Raider Nation. Appreciate the chat room in there. I love the call out from Tyrone Graves in there. Manning went his whole career dodging getting picked by Charles Woodson until he came back to the Raiders. Absolutely. That was incredible. That pick in the end zone against Manning and the Broncos, man, he was so good on that return, man. I almost wish he would have played that one extra year, right? Because then he would have seen the 2016 season, and who knows what would have ended up with Charles there. But anyways, but appreciate that call out there. Appreciate also Aaron the Q-Dog Raiders in there. Kel Jadis is in there. Raider Flash, Lee B, Lencho, Sugar Shane, Ron the Mater Raider, Franklin 83. Appreciate all of you, and appreciate all the support in there for hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you don't mind, and help us out here. All right, next up, let's get to the a little bit of the Super Bowl aftermath. We're going to get to that, and then we're going to jump into the Sea of Fans, just a couple emails and a few phone calls to get to tonight. But before we do that, I would like to talk a little bit about the Super Bowl. Chiefs! That's really all I got to say. You suck asses. I'm so glad you lost. I'm so glad to see you get beat down in that kind of a fashion. You know what I mean? Like that. Look, I know it's Tom and we hate Tom and blah, 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 blah. But look, man, if you didn't find any kind of joy watching the Chiefs get the crap kicked out of them, then I don't know what to tell you, man, because as a diehard Raider fan and them being our arch rival, nothing brought me more joy that night than to watch those guys just literally get the junk kicked out of them, man. It was incredible. That was an impressive performance. I think what was interesting to me as a fan and as a takeaway is that, and I tweeted this afterwards, is that I know we all love high-powered offenses and all that kind of stuff. I know we love that. But every time I see somebody hoist a Lombardi trophy or toss it between boats like freaking Tom did today, it's a freaking good offensive line, great running game, great defense. Like, you don't need to, like, how many high-powered offenses have we seen win the Super Bowl in, I don't know, halfway recent history? Drew Brees and Peyton Manning, not Peyton Manning 1, not Peyton Manning 2, because Peyton Manning 2 was terrible. It was Von Miller that won that football game for them. So I'm just thinking, man, like, I think the Raiders aren't that far away. I think that we have an opportunity to do something similar to what the Buccaneers did. And I know we don't have Tom Brady with Derek Carr. I know we don't have like some pieces. I get it. He's the greatest of all time. Even Derek Carr, I don't think would think that he's on a comparable level. That I don't say that to disparage Derek. I just mean that, like, you got this guy that's got 7 freaking Super Bowl rings. We'll never see that again. But in terms of like the teams go, like, it's very interesting to me that the Buccaneers team really reminded me a lot, especially just after watching this Super Bowl highlight run that we just did with the Raiders. Like, it kind of reminded me of the Black Sunday teams. Like, you look at the Buccaneers now and you see old guys, right? I see old people. You see JPP, you see Ndamukong Suh, you see Shady McCoy, you see Tom Brady, you see Gronk, you see like older guys, right? But then also, even Levante David's 31, but then, oh yeah, Devin White, right? Like, you look at like, and especially their secondary, like they have like first, second, and third year players. So like, I think that if the Raiders this offseason make it a focus to bring in some serious veteran leadership, I think we could, like, look, man, I'm just saying that formula still works. Like, all these years later and all these changes in the NFL and all these rules and all the evolution of the game and blah, 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 blah. It's all kind of comes down to some root things that never change. The flags stay in their pockets for the most part by the referees. I know, save me the tuck rule and all that stuff. But like, for the most part, like, they let them play defense. Like, they're playing a more physical defense, especially in the secondary, than we see in the regular season. And so there are some things I think that don't change. Those things are still universal. And those things that, look, a few things bounce our way differently this year, Raider Nation, and we're not that far off. I really don't think we're that far off. And I think also, on the heels of this Super Bowl win and the aftermath of all this, it's really important for us to lock into a concept coming up in this season. And I'm really going to harp on this offseason. So if you don't like my kind of my take on this, then you're going to get real sick of it come, August, September, because I'm going to drill this into the ground. This, I think, is going to be, of the modern era of the Raiders, probably the most important season in terms of like the progression and the path of the team. Not that this last year wasn't important, not that all of them aren't important. But when you look at the crossroads, we'll say, that certain players are at. Derek, I think it's fair. We could say that he's approaching a crossroad because of contract obligations from the team, because of, you can call it success, you can call it whatever. And I'm not disparaging the guy because I think he was a great quarterback for us this year. I don't think he's a problem or a challenge for us. I don't think that that's the issue. But I think that overall, when you look at like where he's coming to, where John Gruden's legacy is going to lie now here coming into year 4. Like when you look at like, okay, now Mayock's got going to have a few drafts under his belt. The Raiders are going to play their first season in Allegiant Stadium in front of fans. There's going to be a lot of things that are significant about this season that, and I kind of felt that way about this last season, that the Raiders, it was really important for them to return to relevance. I think that even though with only an 8-win season, I think we checked enough boxes. Winning on the East Coast, winning in cold weather, winning at Arrowhead. Like you look at the things that we did, it was enough. Obviously, it wasn't enough to go to the playoffs, and that was the biggest box to check. But it was small, but it was progression. So it was still steps. It was still positivity. So I'm going to lean into that. But here's why I think that this upcoming season is even more important. And not only because of all the reasons that I just gave you, but I'm going to read you off a list of Super Bowl wins in the AFC West. Chargers, goose egg, of course. Chiefs, 2. That's important because if they would have won this last one, obviously would have went to 3 and would have what? Tied the Raiders. The Raiders have 3. Broncos have 3. So in our whole AFC West division, in terms of Super Bowl wins, we still have 3. We're still tied for first place with Super Bowl wins. That's huge for us as fans. That's bragging rights. Anybody in our division wants to talk junk, just throw a 3 at them, man. That's all you got to do. Scoreboard. Numbers don't lie. On the heels of that also, AFC division wins. AFC West division wins. Chiefs, lowest. 13. That's the lowest in history in our division for the teams. Chiefs 13. The rest of us all tied with 15. Chargers, Broncos, Raiders all have 15 division titles. All right, so why do I think that this is so damn important? Well, if we want bragging rights as fans, if we want to remain on top as Raiders, this is a year where we need to hit this stuff. We need to win a title this year of some sort, or we need to make a Super Bowl or make a good long postseason run. We want to keep up this momentum. Look, we have given these teams like a 20-year head start. We had one good year since 2002. We're coming up on 20. I can't believe those. I'm saying that. We're coming up on 20 freaking years since our team was good year in, year out with any level of consistency. That's bananas. Like, really? Like, we can't put together 2 or 3 seasons together? Like, unbelievable. It's been that long. And if you want to go before that, it wasn't all that hot in the 90s either. We had a nice little run with Art Shell and yes, Bo Jackson and all that kind of stuff. But we weren't rattling off AFC championships, division titles back then either. Very sparsely, right? So I think this is an important season for the Raiders, man. A season in terms of time, not just in the season of itself, but this is an important era of the Raiders upcoming because we don't have the luxury of time anymore. We've been riding all that stuff we saw in Al Davis versus the NFL, all that genius of him, all the winning, all of that stuff, everything, the pageantry, the just win baby, all that stuff. We've been riding that for so damn long. We're now out of time because we've given them all enough time. They finally freaking caught up to us. So this season for us, in terms of relevancy as a franchise, is hugely important because we hadn't been relevant in a hot minute. And now the numbers are going to start working against us. And I think that's something that, look, clearly as a fan, I don't want to see, you don't want to see. And I'm going to give you one last thing. I'm going to give you some Derek Carr numbers. Listen to this, Raider Nation. He ain't going anywhere, first and foremost. He ain't going anywhere. He's going to be our quarterback in 2021. And I'm proud to have him. I'm proud to have him because when you stack him up against the GOAT, the guy that just beat the Chiefs and played them twice this season, Derek Carr's numbers stack up. And I just said numbers don't lie, and I'm a firm believer of that. And when we look at contrasting Derek Carr to Tom Brady. Week 5, Derek Carr plays the Chiefs. He is 22 of 32, 347 yards, 3 touches, 1 pick, and a quarterback rating of 126.7. When you look at the 2 games Brady had, 2 games Carr had, that's the highest. Highest quarterback rating of those 4 games. Week 11, when we played him, Derek Carr goes 23 for 31, 275 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, 119 quarterback rating. Tom Brady in week 12, when he played the Chiefs, 27 of 41, 345, 3 touches, 2 picks, 96 quarterback rating. And in the Super Bowl, 21 of 29, 201 yards, 3 touches, and a quarterback rating of 125.8. It was clearly only 200 yards, man. Running game was the one that was picking up chunks of yards. And then, let me hit Gronk in the end zone. Let me hit Antonio Brown in the end zone. Like, when you look at the numbers of quarterback play, it's highly comparable. Here's the deal breaker. And I'm going to hit a break after this. Here's the freaking deal breaker. Points allowed in those 4 games, 2 games against the Raiders, they allowed 67 points. The 2 games that the Buccaneers played the Raiders, 36.
Hey Raider Nation, this is Max Crosby from the Oakland Raiders.
And goes down, and Max Crosby, who forced a fumble last week.
You're listening to Murf, Mosh, and Swag Jeff on Raiders Fan Radio. Thank you so much. Just win, baby.
All right, I'm going to give you one more little caveat too. 16 of the past 34 teams that lost in the Super Bowl missed the playoffs the following year, including the Rams and the 49ers the past 2 seasons. Only 3 teams have won the Super Bowl after losing it: Dallas in 71, Miami in 72, and the Patriots in 2018. 8 others made it back, including the Bills 3 times. So the odds are stacked against the Chiefs that they won't make it back. We hope that they won't. And guess what? Salary is going to catch up to them super, super quick. We're not going to have to worry about these Chiefs in the next coming years.
There he is, fading, looking. He's under the gun. He's caught, he's thrown. It is. He caught it.
Damn right we need a defense chat room. In fact, I'm gonna digress. I know I just played the Sea of Fans music, but I'm gonna play you one more clip that came out today. Listen to this. This is okay. Oh my gosh. We always devolve into talking about Derek Carr. Not that I don't like talking about Derek Carr, but I hate the spirit of the conversation around Derek Carr, that he's gonna be traded all the damn time, that he's a problem all the damn time. Let's check in with David, Derek's older brother, on NFL Network today. Because now all the rumor mill is flying off the shelf, or is out of control about Derek being traded. So Andrew Siciliano asked David about that exact thing.
Today's show, David, Ian Rappaport said that some teams have called the Raiders about Marcus Mariota. Now, we know that we've also heard, well, maybe your brother gets traded. Understanding you're not the team spokesman nor the family spokesman here. Is Derek comfortable thinking he's going to be back next year?
I'll tell you that Derek doesn't like any of the noise that's happened over the last couple of years, and it's because of one major issue. It's what is said inside the building is different than the noise that he hears in the external. And I'm not saying our shows, I'm saying everywhere. I mean, the trade rumors for Derek have been widely reported. So I'll say this to Ian's report. There have been at least 4 teams that have tried to trade for Derek. One team tried to trade for Derek a couple times.
49ers.
And they were told no point blank. And they've continued to be told no. So I think that when you hear the rumors, it's because, the NFL Network, different networks are on in these buildings. And when you hear that there's a possibility to go out and get Derek Carr, absolutely teams are going to call. And absolutely teams have called and offered. And they've been told no every time. I just think when you look at what John Gruden has, John Gruden loves Peyton Manning, okay? So quick story, Peyton Manning came in, and he worked with Derek early on, right when John took the job. And John Gruden wants a guy that has control of his offense at the line of scrimmage and that can move them and get them in the right play. And he has that in Derek. Other than Tom Brady, I don't know if there's another quarterback out there. Maybe Aaron Rodgers is in that boat that can get his team into the correct play, diagnose the defense better than Derek. Derek's been doing it since he was 10 years old, sitting in NFL meeting rooms with me. So he understands exactly what he's seeing. He knows how to get his team in the right play. Now, on top of that, He's improved every year under Gruden as far as his down the field accuracy and in every area. So I think that John has exactly what he wants. And to say that Derek wouldn't be traded, it's hard to say, because if someone comes in and they go earth-shattering deal, I'll give you more than what you gave for Matt Stafford. I mean, who's not going to listen to that? So you can never say never. But at the end of the day, it's going to take an awful lot to pry Derek Carr away from John Gruden.
Hey, listen, they had their moments last year.
They did.
And they almost
got a Super Bowl ready offense, man. I'm telling you, offensively, they're ready to go compete for a championship. They have some things they got to fix on the defensive side. I think that you saw a new defensive coordinator come in. There's going to need to be some things that are improved there, and everyone knows that. And if they can do that, just get to the middle of the pack, and they got a chance, So they beat the Chiefs last year. They can do it again. So we'll see what happens.
They were in it week 16. They hold on. They beat the Dolphins. It's a much different situation there.
Exactly.
All right, David Carr. Thank you. Catch you later.
You got it, buddy.
As we continue in NFL Now, and we.
All right, there you go. So this, and I loved, and I wanted to play that because I think this really drives home a point, is that when you hear David speak on that, but look, if the Raiders get a stupid offer for Derek Carr, if they get the kind of an offer that blows them away and they get, multiple first rounders or whatever, they might take it. Everyone's got this is what we talked about last week. Everyone's got a price tag. You know what I mean? So no one is off limits, but that's the kind of effort it's going to take to get Derek Carr away from the Raiders. And that's likely not going to happen. It's more likely you're going to see Mariota and freaking Ty Williams go to the Bears for Allen Robinson. Ooh. Anyways, that's just whatever. Okay. Let's get to these emails. If you want to contact us here, more of you and less of us is a good thing. And you can hit us up here anytime by sending an email to show@RaidersFanRadio.com. That is show, SHOW, @RaidersFanRadio.com. And we've got 2 emails to get to tonight. First off, our buddy Ty the Raider. Always good to hear from Ty. He says, yo, what's up, Murf, Swaggy, and the one and only Uncle Mosh. I hope all is well and everyone is safe and sound. First off, I would like to thank everyone who sent their condolences to me and my family after the death of my little brother. It's the hard part of life, but I have faith that everything happens for a reason. And as my brother always said, it builds character. I know everyone came out to hear some Raider football, so let's get to it. Once again, man, condolences to you, and Raider Nation's with you, brother. Okay, I wanted to send this email before the Bucs beat the cousin-loving team from Alabama 42-28. If you're a Raiders fan and you pick a team whose slogan is "My wife is my sister," I will assume you're a real character from the Hills Have Eyes and you're just supporting your family. I can live with AB and Tampa Tom getting a ring. I know a total of 0 Buck fans. But just the idea of having to listen to a pathetic condiment-wearing, 4-teeth-having, Breaking Bad blue crystal burning fan call this show thinking they can brag in any way gets my blood boiling. Amen. And I can't tell you how many freaking calls I get from Chiefs fans nowadays. It's ridiculous. How can you root for a team known for fountains? You put a mustache on a pig and call it a coach. And yeah, you guys have the most barbecue sports per capita in the United States, but that's because you suck at it. Everyone is racing to try to figure out how to light the grill. Winner gets their sister. I could go all day, but I'll move along. Al Davis versus the NFL. It's hilarious that Lynn Curtis Swan was scared to play the Raiders. That was a new one to me. I had not heard that one before. Great call out, Ty. Yeah, he said he was scared to play the Raiders. Well, yeah, that's exactly what Al Davis wanted, right? And that's one of the geniuses of Al Davis was he wanted you to be scared pulling into the parking lot, walking into the stadium, when you got to the locker room, when you took the field. He wanted you thinking about everything else but, oh yeah, I got to play a football game. I didn't know what tissue was allowed in the Hall of Fame. That's almost funnier than the guy selling Super Bowl 15 buttons after Super Bowl 18. The scumbag look he had gave me Tatooine smuggler vibes. Overall, it was a good show, but I think I set the bar really high. Let's be honest, the CGI they used was kind of creepy. Maybe it's just me. No, I get it. It was a little wonky, but again, budget constraints, man. I know it's, ESPN, and so they got Disney money, but it's not Disney money. It's not Marvel Studios money or Star Wars or Lucasfilm, kind of money. So I know it was okay. It was okay. I just liked the sentiment of it. I just kept locking into the concept of those two guys strolling. I'll tell you why. It reminded me of John Madden's Hall of Fame speech where he talked about picturing at night when all the lights go off in the Hall of Fame, that the busts all talk to each other, and it's kind of like, if you've got these like legends upon legends all, kind of talking to each other, it kind of reminded me of that. It harkened back to that sentiment. And so the idea that Pete and Al were just moseying around Allegiant, I thought that was pretty neat. All right. He says, before I go, I'd like to get something off my chest. I didn't watch any of the Star Wars movies until COVID, or any Star Wars movies and series till COVID, but I've since watched them all, including The Mandalorian and some of the Clone Wars. I don't understand the sequel saga slander. I thought it was well done and the fight scenes were pretty cool. I would appreciate if someone would explain it to me what I'm missing, because here's my top 3. Revenge of the Sith, Rogue One, and The Rise of Skywalker. Yeah, I said it. And Murf, The Last Jedi wasn't that bad. Now that I ruffled a few feathers, I want to leave you with a question. All right, well, hold on, man. He's got a lot of questions in here. So let me take these one by one. Someone explain what I'm missing. All right, I'll keep a rant free, because all you got to do is go back to listen to our Star Wars show, and you hear me, and you hear Kevin, and you hear Capo talk plenty about this exact sentiment about our issue with the sequel series. Love Force Awakens. Can't stand Last Jedi because it altered the path of some of the most beloved characters, most importantly, Luke Skywalker. And it actually changed who he was, and that removed the spirit of Star Wars. It removed the spirit of what the Force was. And like, you know what I mean? And like Rey's path and all that could have been so much different. And when you look at Luke's path or even Anakin's path, they departed from that. Rian Johnson completely departed from that. And basically he broke every rule that J.J. Abrams had set up in Force Awakens. There's a nerd alert for you. Okay, so that's why. And then Rise of Skywalker is just putting the pieces back together after Rian Johnson disassembled everything in Last Jedi. And I'm with you. I liked Rise of Skywalker. It was a fun movie. It just didn't have the depth that like an Empire did or one of those others. All right, so he says he wants to leave us with a question. Do you like WandaVision so far? Did everyone get creeped out by Vision in episode 4? Dude, I love WandaVision. WandaVision is incredible. WandaVision, and I'll save you another big nerd rant. We might have to do a Marvel thing because everybody in the chat room or wherever else is going to be like, talk about the Raiders. WandaVision is brilliant. Like, it's an absolutely brilliant show. It's brought out like some really cool emotion out of some incredible characters. I love it when you have secondary and even tertiary characters that like get brought to the forefront. Like, I could watch a whole show about what's his name? It's not Lieutenant Wu, but it's whatever. Agent Wu. I could watch a whole show about him like doing like X-Files stuff. Like, it's incredible. I think WandaVision is brilliant. So heck, I could watch a whole Monica Rambeau show, like her, like, you know, doing sword stuff, like, right? Like, it's really, really cool stuff. So, it's kind of fresh, some of the episode stuff. So I'm trying to stay spoiler free, but I'm really into it, man. I think it's awesome. All right. And, last he says, anyway, this is the way. All love and respect, Ty the Raider. And then he says, P.S. Oh yeah, The Last Jedi was terrible. Yeah, it was. I love that. You had me set up there. I'm like, wow, you really liked it. And then you're like, no, I don't. All right, next up, we got our buddy Paul in Shropshire, Mississippi, or otherwise known as the UK. Good evening, fellas. Hope this email finds you well. I have to start this week with the excellent Hall of Fame news. I'm so proud of Coach Flores and Charles Woodson for their much-deserved rewards. I thought I'd get a little teary over Coach Flores after waiting so long, but I was okay. However, the Charles Woodson video is different. I watched that a few times, and every time it's emotional. Absolutely. Unsurprisingly, Coach Flores accepted his news with dignity and class, and Woodson was his usual cool self. Woodson was everything you want in a player, but most of all, he comes across as a real gentleman. He's a perfect example for the younger generation to aspire to, and the Raiders couldn't wish for a better ambassador. Now, my biggest wish is to see Cliff Branch, Jim Plunkett, Phil Villapiano, and Lester Hayes get the call. All right, I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to save it because we're getting long already tonight. This is my Cliff Branch rant. For those of you that have heard this show, you know how I feel about Cliff Branch not being in the Hall of Fame. I have whatever. I'm going to back off because it ain't about me. It's about Paul and this fantastic email. Just know that I'm going to save that. Next time we get together, you're going to hear me screaming and pounding the desk once again about the atrocity of Cliff Branch not being in the Hall of Fame. While I'm on this topic, I don't know a great deal about Drew Pearson. He may be a nice guy with a good career behind him, but I do know that his stats don't come close to Cliff Branch. So what am I missing here? It was Harold Carmichael last year, now Drew Pearson. What actually is the criteria to get into Canton? Yeah, Paul, because guess what? Drew Pearson had 489 yards in his career. Guess what? Cliff had more, 501. Receptions. Receptions, he had more. Yards. Drew Pearson had 7,822. Cliff had 8,665. Drew Pearson had 48 touchdowns. Cliff Branch had 67 touchdowns. Drew Pearson had 1 Super Bowl ring. Cliff Branch has 3. What's the difference between these guys? Drew Pearson whines. He's a big complaining foo that freaking all the time. He was complaining and crying on videos about how it's an atrocity he didn't get in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, and sadly, we lost Cliff Branch, and now you got to induct him posthumously. Just like the same thing with Stabler. It's ridiculous, Hall of Fame. I said I wasn't going to get on a rant, but yeah, Paul, it's bullcrap, man. Cliff Branch needs to be in the Hall of Fame. I'm thankful Flores. I'm thankful Woodson. I'm thankful Wayne Mabry. But let's get this one right. Come on, man. Okay, I'll promise I'll rant about it later, too. Sheesh. I love Cliff Branch. All right, next up. Blah, blah, blah. The feedback on the 30 for 30 Al Davis documentary has been largely positive. It still hasn't aired in the UK, so I'm waiting with bated breath to see it. I'm looking forward to your comments tonight, finding out the details and what to look forward to. I'd also like to hear some feedback from Vocal Mosh of your Star Wars Super Bowl specials. He's not here tonight, but I'm sure I'll hear about it. He'll call it Star Trek, and he'll say that, oh, I love that. I love the, Luke Kirk or whatever. Like, he always like conflates the things on purpose and makes fun of it. So he says, as I stated, last week, I was avoiding the weekend's drama and the vomit bowl. I've seen photos on Twitter of Kermit looking like a crumpled piece of cloth on the floor with 3 towering Bucks players grinning at him and obviously know the final score. So in conclusion, I'm happy with the outcome and I hope Missouri hurts like hell. I'd like to sum it up with a small poem, which I think shows my true feelings. All's not well in Muppet Land. The league has found out there's no dynasty, no 10-year plan. Just Kermit with a pout. Oh, I didn't read that right. The right pentameter, is that what you call it? Iambic pentameter? Sorry, Paul. I'll see if I can do better this time. Beaten by the Goat and Gronk, their season came to nothing. They've won as Jacksonville and that Super Bowl stuffing. The fat lady sang for Reed with a troublesome weekend. This is the start of all your woes, or this you can depend. Another flash in the pan, they've found out all right. The Raiders are coming, Kermit, old friend. Sleep with one eye open, clutching your pillow tight. I see a Metallica reference. I did have another verse, but I couldn't find anything to rhyme with Nantucket. Good job, Paul. Finally this week. I'm saving the full update on the BRT Sizzler scores for a few more episodes, but something significant has happened last week that needs a mention. All right, so best email, best voicemail of the week that's not named Aaron, the Q-Dog Raider. Best email or voicemail are eligible for Sizzler Awards. And so Mosh usually picks them. In his absence, it goes to Swag Jeff. And in Swag Jeff's absence, it goes to me. And I am highly influenced by the chat room. So you all help me pick the best email or the best voicemail of this week, which we will award the BRT Sizzler Award. Paul says, and Paul is our scorekeeper for the Sizzler Award, and he says, Houston Raider Steve has become the first member of the RFR family to achieve double figures, with last week being his 10th BRT Sizzler Award. So congratulations to the RFR historian GOAT. At the time, it's the time for mock drafts to appear everywhere, and it's always fun to see people's take on things. Always be mindful, though, folks. What we do in free agency will have a huge bearing on the direction the draft will take. Amen. Swag and I were talking about that in the driveway today, that depending on what the Raiders do in free agency, like, is going to highly influence the draft. Like, I think they're going to address the secondary in free agency and address the front four with the draft. But that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. Personally, I'll stick to listening to the Capo suggestions. Smart move. Stay safe, Raider family. Love you, Raider Nation. His Lordship, Paul Edgerton, Shropshire, Mississippi, Polly Award winner 2019, Foggy Glasses Award winner 2020, BRT Sizzler scorekeeper, proud made man, and five-time +1 of the Raiders Fan Radio Sizzler Award.
Paul. 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 Paul.
Paul.
Paul. Paul.
Paul.
Paul. Paul.
Paul.
Paul.
Paul. Paul. Paul.
Claude. Claude. Claude.
Paul.
Paul. Paul. Paul. Paul. Paul.
Paul. Your name, Paul?
Hello.
Paul.
Hello.
Paul.
I met him with Paul. Who? Paul.
Paul, yes, Paul.
Paul's not here. Hey, Paul. Paul.
Hi. I'm Paul.
All right, appreciate Paul. Appreciate both of our emailers tonight, Ty the Raider, and of course, Paul. You can email us at show@RaidersFanRadio.com. And if we read your email an indefinite amount of times, you can become a made man or a made woman. Or if you call the show 3 times, you can become a made man or a made woman. And the leader of that crew is Aaron the Q-Dog Raider. We call him Capo because he is the leader of the made men and the made women. We always kick off this segment with him. But if you want to join in his crew, all you got to do is call 909-345-3346. That's 909-345-3346. Leave us a message. We'll play 3 times and then you become made. Got some great ones tonight. We're going to kick it off always, of course, with Aaron. And so let's check in with Aaron the Q-Dog Raider.
Greetings, Don Murf, Consigliere Moss on the boss Sonny, Sergeant at Arms, the Sizzler, Big Raider Trucker, Mojo for Win the Universe Speech, Ramon the Mean King, Swag Jeff, Ron the Mater Raider. Nation, it was the best of times. The Chiefs lost the Super Bowl 55 in humiliating fashion. It was the worst of times. Once again, the nation had to look at the playoffs from the outside in. Yet, as the Patriarch famously said, and how about that special, Al versus the NFL last week, the greatness of the Raiders is in its future. Proudly, I did not watch a single minute of the Super Bowl. Now, the Raiders have started, for all to believe, I guess, the chatter that DC4, Derek Carr, is no longer on the trading block, or nor will he be on the trading block. But listen, behind Benedict Brown, Marcus Mariota, he's third on the list of most desired trade bait on our roster. But hold my drink for a second. Per an article written by Zach Wassing, whatever his name might be, amid rumors that Russell Wilson, that's right, one-time Super Bowl winner, isn't thrilled with the team's front office, nor is he happy about the club's inability to protect him on Sundays. The 32-year-old said on Tuesday's edition of the Dan Patrick Show that he's not sure if he's going to be available for trade discussions. Let's open that door. That's a Seahawks question, he responded to Patrick. I'm liking the sound of this. Wilson remains one of the best quarterbacks in the business this very day, no matter what talk there might be out there about Deshaun Watson. I believe that everyone in the nation can get behind this proposition. He finished the regular season tied for second with 40 touchdown passes. What wasn't discussed, part of the discussion several weeks ago is now firmly an option for the Raiders. As of Tuesday afternoon, BetOnline.ag listed the Raiders at plus 300 as the favorites to trade for Wilson, a move that would definitely end DC4's tenure with the club. Wilson, likely a future Hall of Famer, finished Week 17 ahead of DC4 in passer rating, total QBR, completion percentage, passing yards, and passing scores per ESPN stats, and would be an upgrade definitely for John Gruden. Now, the Dallas Cowboys are next on the list at plus 600, the football team from Washington at plus 800, San Francisco for his services at plus 900, and the Pats, that's right, those damn Pats come in at plus 1,600 to land Wilson if they don't trade for Marcus Mariota. Now, I say we trade Benedict Brown and acquire Mark Ingram, Patrick Peterson, and Richard Tampa-Free Sherman. Congratulations to Coach Tom Flores and Charles Woodson on their respective selections to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Hope to see you all there this summer, COVID, I guess, permitting. You know what? Cliff Branch and Jack Tatum are standing by if you need them, okay? Now, to wrap up this call, FKC, FTD12, and FAB with a ring on it.
Come on.
The hit list, we'll just go ahead and condense this. Insurrectionists, Super Bowl 55, and of course, as per usual, Mike Ditka. Respect goes out to Kevin the Raider Nerd for his appearance on the Star Wars protest special. Well done. He carried me. B-Dog in a Pasture, Raider-born Rico, Haley from Scotland, Watts Raiders, Sugar Shane, Bobby Wasabi, Raider Homer, His Lordship, Paul from Shropshire, Mississippi, and I hope we had 30 seconds of Paul by the time I made my call. I Patch, Rev Raider, Monster Mash, Ken, Running Bear, Coach Davis, Raider Lim, Raider Cliff, Also Raider, Big Easy Raider, Raider 1975, Fabricator Gil, Wild Raider, Dead Scroll Steve, Sugar Shane, a Mangus brother to be named later, Splatterhead, and everybody from the fan club, Blitz and Inebriation. Rue.
Awesome stuff there from Aaron the Q-Dog Raider. Yeah, I'm not sure about Wilson. I mean, I like this sentiment. And yeah, I mean, when you have the opportunity to acquire a first ballot Hall of Famer, you do. You know, I don't know if the Raiders are, I don't know. I mean, never say never, man. You never know what's going to happen with Carr. Again, if we get a stupid offer from another team and there's enough equity there, you might see him do something crazy. I mean, it's certainly possible. I think what's something else that he kind of kindled my thoughts on, and we were texting a little bit about this, is that, you know, the Patriots have $68 million under the salary cap. Like, I know Tom Brady and everybody's like, well, I guess we know who the winning component of the pairing was between Belichick and Brady. You know, as Lee Corso would famously say, not so fast. I don't think that the Patriots are going quietly into the night. They got a lot of money, man, $68 million. And there are tons of players that are out there. And they're literally a quarterback away from, you know, making a run again. And so this is where I think that, you know, the Chiefs are not a slam dunk shoe-in for the AFC next year. I think you got a lot of up-and-coming teams in the AFC, and it sounds weird to say that the Patriots would be an up-and-coming team, but after going, you know, quietly into the freaking offseason like we did, they're going to be poised for a return, man. Bill is not going to be laying down on this thing. And can you imagine a Russell Wilson Patriots team? Like, oh my gosh. And they got the money to do it. And the Raiders don't have a ton of money. Another thing Swag and I were talking about earlier today is that, you know, the Raiders have some restructuring opportunities. I fully could see Brown getting let go. I'm with Capo 1,000,000% on that. Brown gets let go. Williams gets involved in some sort of trade. Mariota gets sent in some form of trade. We restructure Derek's contract, convert his cap hit into some kind of a signing bonus. All of a sudden, we got a bunch of money. And so we're not out of free agency, but I just don't know if like that kind of a level of a move is on the books for us. Again, you never know. We'll see how this thing goes. The league season opens in terms of free agency March 17th. So we're not that far away from it. So we're only, just about not quite a month away, or a little bit over a month away, excuse me. So it's going to be very interesting the way this thing plays out. And again, man, I think this is going to be one of the more critical years in Raider history. And so very interesting to see where this thing goes, to see if the Raiders feel like they're in a position to where it's time to sell out. Like it's time to like mortgage your future a little bit and go all, you know, like what Elway did with the Broncos and just go all out to get that ring, to go all out to bring in the kind of guys, not to build a dream team because chemistry can become an issue, but you bring in the right guys. You bring in Richard Sherman, you know, convert him to safety. You bring in Pat Pete. You bring in Melvin Ingram. You bring in Leonard Williams. I know that's crazy. Like you're not going to see all four of those players playing on the defense, but you get the idea where I'm going. Like all of a sudden the dynamic of our defense changes dramatically. And I agree with what David Carr said earlier. I think we got a Super Bowl offense. Like scoring points and moving the football is not our problem. It's freaking stopping other teams. And if we had even a middle of the pack defense, I think we're a 12-win team easily, if not a 13-win team, right? So I don't think we're that far off. So this is going to be a really critical offseason. All right, enough of me. Let's hear more from you. Let's check in with the aforementioned Houston Raiders Steve.
Murf, Mosh, Swag Jeff, Nation. Hey, this is Houston Raiders Steve. Thanks for the sizzler. I really appreciate it. Some things I wanted to tell you about Al Davis that I knew about based on what I've heard reading my notes. Back in the day and everything, the reason why the Raiders and Al Davis, especially Al, wanted to go down to Los Angeles is they were going to be building them suites there at the Coliseum down there, and they guaranteed him sellouts. And that's ultimately the reason why he left. When you see Al Davis wearing that that wrist thing that says Al Davis, the white rocks on the black background, that was a gift given to him by Jimmy the Greek. They were really tight and everything. A lot of times, when he would get information about the Raiders, of course, in the NFL, he went right to the source, got everything from Al. So that was a gift from Jimmy the Greek to Al, was that bracelet or whatever you want to call it on his wrist. Al made him a lot of money. He was a big gambler on the Super Bowl, and he won a lot of money. Jimmy the Greek, he was known for having one of the largest payouts. Another thing about Al Davis and everything, he was all behind merchandising and marketing. And what he did is he wanted to make sure at that time that you, as a Raiders fan in Murfreesboro, wherever you live in the United States, could call up your local cable company and tell them, hey, I want to watch the Raiders game, and they would put the game on, and you could watch it in your own home. Al was all behind that. And look what we have today. I remember going to a local sports bar back in the 80s and stuff and being able to tell the owner, hey, I want to watch the Raiders game, and he would pick it up off the dish, and I could sit there and watch that. Before that, you were stuck with watching the local teams, and that was behind the fact that you should be able to watch your team in your own home because you cheer for the Raiders, even though wherever you lived all over the United States or the world. That's what he was behind, and he marketed that. He was the genius behind it. Goodbye. We're back, baby.
I love the way Steve ends his calls. Goodbye. Yeah, we call him the Historian, and because he provides such really cool stories that are provide extra insight to the team, and that's one of them I hadn't heard. I didn't know about Al's relationship with Jimmy the Greek. I remember Jimmy the Greek, and I remember why he got fired, which, he revealed a part of his character that was not very attractive, and glad that he was, relieved of his duties from CBS. But like what a high profile figure he was back in the day. And I had no clue that famous bracelet that Al wore that said Al on it, with the silver and black, was given to him by Jimmy the Greek. Very interesting there. So great stuff there from Houston Raider Steve. All right, time for the funny. Let's check in with the Raider karaoke. So I love Raider Karaoke Kid. So this is T3 Tom. This is the guy from Only Nation podcast. They do a great podcast over there, him and Heidi, and of course our buddy Raider Homer. And so Raider Karaoke Kid heard me last week when I was talking about that, there was some copyright issues. And trust me, like, we had all the copyright strikes last week, not only from all the music stuff, but when I played or I uploaded the Raiders Super Bowl highlights videos of all 3 Super Bowls. It was like my freaking phone was going off like a slot machine. It was like bing, 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 bing from all the copyright strikes. But the good news is that I didn't monetize the video. So I didn't get any they didn't take the video down, or I'm not going to get sued or anything like that. Like, I didn't try to do anything with it. I just wanted to share it. And so the good news is that's up on our channel if you want to go check it out. All 3 NFL films, Raiders Super Bowl highlight videos, capped off by the amazing John Facenda, narrating Black Sunday, is all on there. So anyways, so Raider Karaoke Kid heard my kind of statement about us getting sued, and instead of playing a song in his background that I would have to go through and edit up, he just kind of sang his song over the click track, or the beat, if you will. And so I appreciate that, a Raider Karaoke Kid, and he turned in another doozy this week, man. This is awesome.
Hey, Murf, it's T3. I'm going to give you an a cappella version from the Karaoke Kid so you don't get in trouble with the music in case you can't use it. So here we go. All the time I have waited for this, seems like it's been so long. I want you to lose it all, and that feeling's ever strong. You got up to the stage and then you fell, and your Super Bowl went down the well, and I'm so happy to say goodbye to you. Goodbye to you. I know you hate for the Raiders and it fills you with dread. I remember how we beat you in your house and then we circled Arrowhead. These last few weeks of holding on, you held the Lombardi and now it's gone. Guess it's time to say goodbye to you. Goodbye to you. Goodbye to you. Goodbye to you. 'Cause baby, it's over now, and you're gonna hear us talk about it. But it's the same, My hate is still the same. In my heart, you will always be a clown. And your team is going down. In my heart, you will always be a clown. And your team is going down. This is the Raider Karaoke Kid. Congratulations, Kansas City. You are now just the answer to the trivia question, who was the biggest loser in 2020? It was you! Later, Nation.
Oh, my gosh. That's so funny. You know, look, there's something to be said for commitment, man. He committed to that. There's no doubt. Patty Smythe and freaking Scandal, if you need them. You got to be of a particular age to get that reference. Like, my gosh, man, going goodbye to you. Hey, and just in case you're wondering, Raider Karaoke Kid, I'll be shooting down the walls of heartbreak later. Bang, bang, because I'm the warrior. Man, that was incredible, dude. Like, so funny, man. So I appreciate the song there. And, man, good stuff. So don't forget, if you are in the chat room, keep up with it, man. Who you like the best, phone calls and emails, and help me decide who the Sizzler is going to be, because we've only got one more. And, you know, if there's any ladies in the room, you may, fellas, want to ask them to step out, because this next caller has a certain influence over those of the female persuasion. You know, the lights tend to come down. The incense tends to get lit. The candles tend to get lit. You know, there's an overall mood that strikes when Rico shows up in the fan cave.
Hey guys, Raider Bon Rico here. So I watched the Senior Bowl a couple of weeks ago. And first of all, I think the Senior Bowl is very important for the Raider organization, because in 7 years we got several valuable players out of that event. And then I was happy to see that it was a defensive type of game. In fact, I wasn't impressed at all with quarterback, wide receiver, and running back. But I was impressed with different defensive players, and 4 of them make my list in my book. So the first one, the guy that impressed me the most, is that guy, Ellerson Smith, defensive lineman from Northern Iowa. Now, the guy is 6'7" for 255 pounds. He's an edge rusher. Now, when you combine 255 pounds for a guy tall like that, that means that's basically pure muscle. And it means only one thing: a lot of physicality combined with quickness. So we're talking about really potential threat at the edge position. And listen, forget 2020 for college football. You can't really evaluate something that never take place. So you probably sometimes have to go backward in the production. And in 2019, depends on the college where they play for. Maybe some college, they didn't play any not a lot of games, so you got to go backward. So in 2019, he got 14 sacks, 5 forced fumble, 63 tackle, 22 for a loss, 2 block kicks, 4 pass breakups, and 14 quarterback hurries. Definitely an interesting guy. Now, the other guy is a linebacker, Grant Stewart, from the Houston Cougars. Probably somebody saw this guy because of his long hair, but I saw there a lot of potential, because we're talking about a smaller guy here, 6'1" for 225 pounds. Now, all this physicality that he has is all distributed in the legs. That allowed him to have a quick response, great tackle, and what surprised me the most is his jumping ability. Now, this is one of those guys that have an eye on the man and the other on the ball. I would consider him, especially looking at his production this year, was 61 tackles, 35 solo, 26 assisted, 1 sack, 1 fumble recovery for a touchdown. Now, if we go backward in one more productive year like 2019, he got 97 tackles, 62 solo, 35 assisted, 1 sack. another guy to consider. Now, the other two guys are a defensive back, one more kind of a cornerback, the other more kind of a free safety, but you never know, they can switch position. So the guy that impressed me the most is this guy, Divine Diablo. Just the name is a kind of a Raider style. He's from Virginia Tech. Now he's a 6'3" tall cornerback. That's what you need for 226 pounds. Now he's more of a free safety, this guy, and I think this guy is everywhere. He can be everywhere. In 2 years, he collected 139 tackles, 74 solo, 5 interception, a recovered fumble return for a touchdown of 98 yards, and 6 pass deflection. So definitely a guy, have a look on him, and then you can tell me if he's valuable or not. The other guy is Benjamin St. Just, another tall defensive back, this time a cornerback, 6'3", 205 pounds. Now, he's from Minnesota Gophers. Now, Minnesota is not, they don't have a lot of good products out of them, that place, but he's another guy that is fast and tall, and it is ideal for a man coverage, while he can learn also zone if we're going to pair him with some good big name veteran, as we should. I told you in another message, I said you another time, let's spend some money. Go big, go home from now on. That's the bottom line, because it's important for every successful organization to have some big names to pair, some good veterans to pair them with valuable rookies that they can learn. So if everybody with the potential can learn something, so they just need good mentors, good teachers. And I think if we spend good and if we get the right picks, we can really do something out of this off season. With all that say, I love you all, go Raiders, and fuck the Chiefs. I'm out.
I love the way that ended. I already heard it too, man, because obviously I had to bleep it out, but just hearing Rico say that cracks me up, man. Oh my gosh, Rico, you're the best, dude. So, man, look, here's the thing about Rico. Like, we always kind of, we I don't want to even say we poke fun, but we always comment on like how cool of a voice he has and the vibe that he brings, and like with the blues in the background and all that stuff. But like, he's got some incredible takes. That's the things I love about Rico, is that, and I hope that like all those other things never take away from or distract from like his great takes. Like, guy is breaking down players from the freaking Senior Bowl and like breaking down like not only what they were doing this year and what they were doing at the Senior Bowl, but like what they did in past seasons, because he also made a very fair point that like it's hard to evaluate players that maybe aren't in the SEC on what their college football seasons looked like in 2020, because they had these modified schedules and all that stuff, where like, look, I'm a little biased, I live in the South now. I'm a Bay Area guy originally for, the majority, not for much longer, but the majority of my life, I lived in California. And, but moving to the South now, where I live outside of Nashville, Tennessee, like I'm in SEC country. And when you look at like SEC football and you look at LSU and you look at, Alabama and Auburn and UT, and you look at, everybody except for, the occasional Kentucky team and always Vanderbilt, like it's amazing football. And so when you play an all SEC schedule, I think you can evaluate players fairly. But outside of that, like, Big Ten was really wonky this year. I think we were all shocked by seeing Ohio State move on. Of course, in the ACC teams, Miami had a good year. Clemson had a good year. Point being, though, is that I agree with Rico. Like, this was a much tougher season to really, truly evaluate what players were. But then when you look at the, extension back into prior season, you can. And so I think that was a great take by him. And also, too, I agree with his sentiment. Like, it's time to go big. Go big or go home, man. Like, this is it. Like, when you look at where we're at, excuse me, gosh, sorry. Apologize, guys. When you look at where we're at in Carr's career, when you look at where we're at in Gruden's, second run with the team, when you look at where Mike Mayock is, when you look at, what our terms are in terms of the Raiders now playing in Allegiant Stadium in front of a live crowd, like all those things that I detailed earlier, like this is the time. Like let's sell out. Like, I mentioned what Elway did with the Broncos earlier. Like I think that's time. I'm with you, Rico. Like, let's go big. Let's make as much cap space as we have. Let's take this solid team that we've built. I'm not talking about like entirely mortgaging our future, but like, let's make a run. Like, let's put our best, foot out there. Let's not sweat the salary cap as much. Let's not sweat, what the next, year 4 looks like. Like, let's win now. Like, let's get it done now. So anyways, I appreciate Rico. So good. Such a great call. And I can't wait to go back and look at the chat. Always get a big kick out of what the chat has to say around Rico's call. During that time though, I did catch out of the corner of my eye that Lencho had a donation in there. He said that, let me see if I can scroll back to it. Yes, I can. He says, my wife told me to drop $5. So he did during Rico's call. So thank you, Lencho, for that. And then earlier tonight, I want to say it before I forget. Thank you also for Aaron, the Q-Dog Raider, with his 1911 contribution tonight. No doubt 1911 comes from his fraternity, Omega Psi Phi, which I believe was their founding year in 1911. So thank you, Aaron, the Q-Dog Raider. And thank you, Lencho. And thank you, of course, to Rico there. I appreciate you, man. All right, so you know what time it is now. It's time for the Sizzler Award. So that's where we take the best phone call or best email and we give it the Sizzler Award. And so tonight we had a couple of emails. Of course, we had our buddy Tada Raider, as Uncle Mosh calls him, out on the West Coast. Appreciate Tada Raider with his email and some great Star Wars stuff in there. That was a lot of fun. Of course, the legendary Paul from Shropshire, Mississippi, otherwise known as the UK. Paul was in there. Capo was ineligible for the Sizzler, but Capo's call is always thought-provoking and always brings a lot of excellent knowledge. And then we had Houston Raider Steve. Great revelations on that. We call him the Historian for a reason. There's a reason he's got 10 freaking Sizzler Awards. So appreciate Houston Raider Steve. Appreciate Raider Karaoke Kid with this freaking scandal song. Goodbye to you. Goodbye to the Kansas City Chiefs. And then, of course, we closed it out with Rico, the Italian Raider fan out there in the Canary Islands, repping the Raiders so very well. And so who do you guys got, man? Raider Flash says they all got my vote. Critique says Karaoke Kid. Rico from Raider Roo. He says not only the voice, but he put some work into the call. Let's see. They were all fire. Let's see. Rico from Daniel Meng. It looks like Rico's kind of leading the pack here. Lee B says my hormones vote for Rico. Kill Jada says Tada Raider. Solid. Let's see. Who else we got? Give me a couple more, man. I think it's Power 1975 says Rico. Kill Jada says Tada Raider again. Gosh, give me a couple more in there, guys. I think it's going to Rico, but it's got up there. It is Ronda Raider says it is Rico. So congratulations, Rico, on your this week's Sizzler Award.
I am the Sizzler.
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 Sizzler. We are Metallica, and we are here for your Oakland Raiders!
You know why we out here, and we ain't playing around today.
From The Walking Dead to errant Jedi Knights, Raiders fans are a rogues gallery.
Aguilar. Resign with the Raiders, Aguilar. I don't know if we're going to have enough money to re-sign Nelson Aguilar, man. He's going to be expensive. But anyways, appreciate all of you, Raider Nation. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Appreciate you jumping in for this podcast selfie. We are going to be off next week. I'm going to take off. I might have some Twitch stuff. So if you don't follow us on the Twitch, check that out. Raiders Fan Radio on the Twitch. I'll probably do some gaming things. I'm hoping to get, speaking of that, I'm hoping to get an interview with Raiders long snapper Trent Sieg. Hopefully we'll get that set up for you guys this week. And then, yeah, whatever. We might piddle a little bit, but other than that, we're going to take the next week off. And so I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody in the chat, man. You guys in the chat are amazing. Sir Raider is in there. Pirate 1975, Killed Jadis, Raider Flash, Ron the Mater Raider, Ty, ta-da, Raiders in there. Franklin 83, Havana Cash, appreciate you. Reese Rock is in there. So many good folks in the chat room tonight. Raider Roo is in there. Thank you so very, very much for supporting Raiders Fan Radio in all the ways that you do. Going to be a very interesting offseason for us, Raider Nation. Man, it's going to be cool to see where this team goes. I'm really excited, man. I think that the importance of this offseason is not to, it's kind of like it's a big deal, but I'm excited about it. I think the Raiders are going to do the right thing. I trust in who we have. I trust Gruden. I trust Mayock. I trust Mark Davis. I trust Derek Carr. Heck, I trust, Rodney Hudson. I trust all the leaders of this team. I trust we're going to bring in some excellent leaders on the other side of the ball to complement that. Guys maybe like Richard Sherman, maybe a guy like Patrick Peterson. You never know where this thing is going to go, and then ultimately that will inform the draft. So anyways, thank you again. Can't thank you enough for supporting us. Not only everybody that's in the chat, but all the lurkers out there, like my boo Max. Appreciate you watching and checking us out. And hit the like button, hit the subscribe, and we will see you in a couple of weeks. Go Raiders.